Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Mini Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be playing Doorways by developer Tribot Games. This is a first-person sort of surreal, cerebral exploration game. We're going to be playing the role of a guy named Mark, who is 19 and lives in Seattle, and right before this title screen, as we were introducing the developer of this game, there was the sound of some screeching tires and a car crash, and the usual cacophony of noise that sort of accompanies that whole situation. So I assume we're going to be perhaps traversing the mind of this boy that may have been hit, or, well, man, he's 19, may have been hit by a car, but this is just my assertion, not having played much of this at all. I've only gotten maybe 2 or 3 minutes into this. The developer says that this is still in development, it is a work in progress, and was made completely from royalty-free and free assets, who they actually go so far as to actually list all of the places that you can find the assets. So, you know, before we get into any criticisms like that, just let that be known. It is a Unity game, and it is using free assets. So let's get right into things. Okay, so we're going to press WASD to move. Nothing new about that concept. So where are we? Our first location. We awaken in what I thought to be maybe a snowy Arctic zone, but now that I'm looking around, it sort of almost feels like we're on the moon or something. This definitely has a more of a dusty or an ashy appearance than icy, so I'm not getting a great sense of cold. Maybe this is a pile of volcanic ash. And there will be some voice acting as well, so I'll try my best not to step on the lines when I can. I'm not sure exactly when they're going to come up, so I might be a little bit off on occasion. But let me, I guess, head through the first door, and we shall get our journey underway. I am kind of curious about perhaps falling off some edges and seeing if anything happens here. It seems like that was a little bit on the muffled side. I did try to balance the volume pretty well, but that particular line delivery seemed maybe a little bit on the quiet side. I think it just ends right there, unfortunately. So let's go through the door, like I said I was going to do already a couple of times, and actually go to the next location. So, you know, pretty hard to miss. We've got a spotlight here. There we go. Subvert authority, right? I'll go through the door backward, because why not? At least we can do that. So what is this location? So there's some very beautiful columns.
It's been years since I arrived in this place. Every door leads somewhere new. And every time I foolishly hope that I found the exit.
So you can hear a sort of pinging sound off in the distance, and I'm not sure exactly stereopositionally where that's coming from, but sort of following in that idea that I had, and I feel really bad if I, like, spoiled the premise of the game immediately, like, as soon as I thought of it, but it does sound a little bit like life support stuff, and given, well, there was a car crash sound that sort of does follow. Nice ambient music, though. This definitely goes well. Not sure what's going on with the textures of this, like, staircase/escalator thingy, but very strange looking, I must say. The ambience of this area, though, is pretty nice. I do like this cosmic look, and as far as the skybox goes, looks pretty nice, actually. Ground texture maybe a little bit on the dull side, just given that it's rather stretched for the amount of space that it's going to be taking up. I'd probably put some more kind of things to distract your eye from noticing that it's all just one big flat plane there. Now let's head on further.
In a strange way, this place reminds me of my grandmother.
Alright, so we're going to be doing a little bit of first-person platforming, I suppose.
Grandma's favorite things to talk about were leaps of faith.
Oh, grandmas and their leaps of faith. Well, I can put 2 and 2 together here, and obviously we're supposed to jump off. This is a nice effect, actually, this shader effect that's happening in the sky. Give you a nice sense of, like, volumetric space.
Everything here is strange, but nothing feels out of place.
And I like that the triggers for these things are actually in places that make some sense. So I was a little bit curious about, like, what if I stood to the side of that column, maybe I wouldn't hear him talk about the leap of faith, and then I would have maybe not gotten that cue. But that is actually pretty much right where it needs to be. I guess I'll finish off leaping through the air here. This texture in particular is a bit sharper than that rock texture over there. Well, I guess just since it's not scaled to quite such a degree. And that light is very much blown out on the ground, but, you know, again, it's a spotlight. Oh, okay, I think you can see right there that little seam is perhaps where the trigger is, where we walk over it. So it might not be a plane at all, right? Oh, no? No, I guess it is just the plane that's on the other side of this, that dark space.
Sometimes the doors would drop me off somewhere pretty nice. But I knew I couldn't stay. I had an exit to find.
Alright, well, that was a pretty easy exit to find. I mean, it was like 3 feet away from where it dropped me off. Yeah, this place is okay. Can I stand on top of the doorway? I think I probably can, right? Yeah. And then I'm already coming up with like speedrun strats of how I'm going to get up into the palm trees for no reason. And what's going on over here? We have any... Oh, no depth to the water. That is a strange footstep sound for water. It actually sounds like we're stepping in Cheerios a little bit, perhaps. Another nice sedated track here, though. This definitely feels like a calm, sleepy area. I think is definitely the right mood. It seems like the developer is pretty good at matching the musical themes and musical moods to the ambient space that we're creating, so in that way, definitely a positive. And don't get me wrong, if I'm coming across as being overly critical or negative in any way, I am totally understanding that this was a bit of a budget game created in, you know, spare time. And so far, you know, presentation seems pretty nice, although, you know, graphical stuff may be a little bit rough, but I think we get that point.
As a young child, whenever I got scared, my mom would say to me, "Mark, don't fear the dark. Fear what hides in the dark."
It's a bit of a strange thing to say to a kid, isn't it?
Needless to say, it didn't help.
Yeah, I imagine. Oh, okay. Is that the light turning off? Wait, what kind of space am I walking in right now? See if I can feel out, based on where this disc seems to move. So we've got quite a bit of lateral space. And what if I walk past the light? Is that possible? Or maybe it's going to funnel me up to it, up and toward it. It's a thing you never really think of. Oh. Oh, crap. That can't be right. I don't think I was supposed to walk there. Oh, no. What have I done? Give me the light. Wait, I want to go step on this one, though. Oh, maybe this is one big space. Getting a little bit nervous now. Oh god, all the lights are gone. Where do I stand? Okay, a little bit further. I'm not actually this freaked out. Everything's fine. Kind of wanted to see whatever that weird thing was a little bit more closely. I'm pretty sure if I had, you know, some sort of element of incandescence in the actual game, maybe I could go stand near it, because I'm pretty sure it didn't despawn or anything. It's probably just standing there in the dark, which kind of makes it even more creepy, right? Okay, so it looks like we have approached a hedge maze. Ooh, what is that? Can I examine that grater? I would really like to know. There's some sort of like a rock shape over here. I want to go investigate.
One of my favorite characters in a book once said, "Not all those that wander. Things that are scary in the dark can be made silly with just the shine of a light."
Okay, I understand. I didn't realize that I was actually seeing that. I wonder if there's any way for me to climb up on the statue and, like, use it to get over the top of the maze. I've always had a thing for hedge mazes. I've always wanted to, like, wander around in one. I've never had the opportunity. And I guess mazes in general have always been my thing, hence why I'm maybe a little bit obsessed with level design and things like that. So I've always loved the idea of being able to see a maze from the inside and then find a way up onto the top of it so you can see the whole thing stretching out in front of you and where you need to go. But one of the strategies that are often employed when you enter some sort of a maze-like structure is just stick to the right wall, and eventually you'll explore the entire thing without necessarily doubling back on yourself. I mean, well, you might double back on yourself, but you might not end up too lost that way, because it will take you through all the different places that you can go. So I'm going to stick to that concept and see if it works out. A little sad to see that there's not much in the way of, you know, design going on outside of this hedge maze area. It looked like just sort of planes going on ad infinitum in every direction. But yeah, I would have definitely put some sort of like shrubberies or something to kind of cordon off the player from being able to find his or her way around to subvert the whole maze. I did check it out, though, and I didn't seem to notice that you could get around to the back, because I don't think that the actual place you're supposed to end up is outside of the maze. I think it's, like, in the maze, but to the side somewhere. So, yeah. But just the fact that you can go around it outside and that there's nothing actually, like, of interest, I definitely like to add little details like that whenever possible. It seems to reward the player and makes them feel happy about the fact that they took the time to go and do something maybe off the beaten path that you weren't expected to do. And plus it just enhances the general immersion. The fact that, you know, attention was paid outside of the main thrust of where you're supposed to go kind of says a lot about the design ethos of, you know, the developer in this particular case. But, you know, to the fact that this developer didn't do that, I'm not saying that it's necessarily that big of a deal. I'm just saying if you're dealing with a complete package of a game, that could be a really nice touch. And this is definitely quite funny to look at and kind of bizarre and trippy in a way. Those leaves are having a very hard time finding their own way through reality. Okay, we found the door. Can we go behind the door? I like to go behind all the doors. Yes. Thought that was like a bizarre cricket or some kind of weird bug on the leaf there. Okay, through... Oh my god, what is this? That is very strange. Haven't seen anything quite like this in a little bit. All of a sudden, we've found our way into proper horror territory, haven't we? We're walking through waist-deep blood with a bunch of exposed skulls with massive vertebrae. Those look overly big, right? Maybe, maybe not. Oh, that is creepy. And also that one's head over there seems to be caved in. I wonder if that's on purpose. Can't really get a good look at the other one's skulls to tell. But now we're definitely getting an obvious hint that is, like, very obviously the life support sounds. Is that the brain? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is actually intentional then.
Though they are void of skin and muscle, somehow these faces seem incredibly familiar.
That is a place that I would never want to find myself. Are the jaws actually connected on the side via some kind of muscle skeleture? It's not the right word at all. I'm sad that you can't interact with them. Alright, well, on to the next door, I suppose. If those things decided to become aggressive and, like, chase after me, that would be really not cool at all.
And then, as if a switch was turned on in my head, I remembered how I got here.
How'd you get here? Uh-oh. Something bad. What am I looking at? It's just fog in every direction. Oh, I can walk through it. Sounds like a phone ringing. Cell phone on vibrate, perhaps? Yeah. Crap. This is a good effect, actually. I really enjoy good use of, like, volumetric fog.
How I got here. I was pretty quick to figure out where I was.
Oh, I thought that was a solid wall. Okay, do I have any clues as to which direction I'm supposed to be heading in? Oh, this is probably just a waiting game then.
I wish I could tell her that it was okay. That it wasn't her fault. But I couldn't wake up.
Oh, that's sad. It's not a very rhythmic heartbeat. Crap. And the door opens, and I think we get the point. Alright. Well, that was Doorways. Kind of a moving ending there, in a way. I mean, sad, obviously. The message, you know, don't talk on the phone and drive, you know, pretty solid advice, I would say. And it's interesting to always, you know, go through these sort of scenarios where you're running through the mind of someone in a particularly, well, sort of a depersonalized state, right? Where you're kind of recollecting on the situation that you were in and how you got to it and where you're going, and you want to interact with the world at large, but you've been excluded from that world, and that isolation, it certainly gives you some pause on, you know, the actions that led you there, and lets you look at things from a slightly different perspective, I suppose. So, it was a pretty interesting time. I enjoyed the surreal element before I started to piece together the story. Unfortunately, I kind of guessed the story just from the title screen, which I kind of wish I couldn't do, so maybe we need a few more curves in the road along the way, if you'll pardon the expression. And if this is still in development, I imagine this could go somewhere pretty cool. Right now, as a, you know, a quick little jaunt through this concept, I think it was a pretty nice prototype. Definitely needs a lot of polish in terms of graphics and things, but in terms of atmosphere and the storytelling capacity of it, I think, you know, the developer did a pretty freaking good job. So, in that respect, my hats go off to Tribot Games and Waffle394. Always feels weird using someone's name like that in sort of a serious context like this. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for Doorways. Feel free to go give this a download yourself if you'd like. There will be a link to the Game Jolt pages. About 130 meg download, so not the smallest one, but also not the largest one I've covered anyway either. And of course, let me know what you think of this one, whether that be the storytelling capacity, the message in general, or anything that you really want to comment on. Let me know in the comments how you feel. And of course, feel free to come back again tomorrow, because new episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like on it, and then we'll be able to reminisce in the future with the other 800 videos that I've covered, which you can find on indie-impressions.com, and all of my social media links are going to be in the description, right along with this game download link. So I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I hope you have a fantastic night. Talk to you later.